Obamacare is in trouble. House Republicans filing a lawsuit against the Obama administration over the implementation of their signature law. This as North Carolina terminates its contract with the architect of the law, Jonathan Gruber. Will Obamacare survive? Illinois Congressman Aaron Schock joins us now to discuss it all. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So what's this lawsuit do?
Well, the lawsuit challenges the president's ability to unilaterally change a law that he fought to get passed and that he signed into law, and that is his namesake.
Right.
And the 2,500-page bill leaves all kinds of provisions in there to allow for rulemaking, to allow administrators and bureaucrats to define certain things. But there are certain provisions of the law that are in statute that are not changeable.
Right.
And one of them was the individual mandate and the employer mandate.
Yes.
And when the president unilaterally said, you know what, I don't like that part of the law, I'm not going to enforce it, I'm not going to move forward with it, he violated his own law. And so when we allow a chief executive to then become lawmaker, it's a violation of our Constitution, and we as members of Congress have a responsibility to uphold and protect the Constitution as part of the oath of office we take every 2 years. And that's why the Congress this summer voted with an overwhelming majority to sue the president. Very few have covered the fact that more members of Congress voted to sue the president over Obamacare than voted to pass Obamacare when it passed the Congress. So people all across the country believe that regardless of whether you support the law or not, we all believe that the president should enforce the law of the land. And if it's imperfect, then Congress needs to, as lawmakers, take up the changes.
So this is one of many examples of the president taking to himself powers not reserved for him in the Constitution, and the executive's getting more powerful over time.
Exactly.
Trying to stop that.
The lawsuit's about him not enforcing the law that Congress passed, and of course his latest measure this week with now trying to draw up a law through executive action because the Congress hasn't acted. Here we have a situation where because he says, well, because you haven't done your job, because you haven't acted as quickly as I want, I'm going to go ahead and do your job. In fact, I'm not going to just deal with 5 million people that I want to keep here, but I'm going to do border security. I'm going to do visa programs for students. I mean, he's actually trying to legislate through an executive action.
And his excuse is, well, you haven't obeyed me. I have no choice. So here's what I don't get, though. I mean, obviously, most Democrats are for this, but on the other hand, he's taking power from the Congress. So why are Democratic members of Congress sitting by and letting this happen?
You know, it really makes you wonder why we went through the elections we did 2 weeks ago. Why do people run for the House and the Senate at the end of the day if the president says, if you don't do what I want, I can act on my own? Think throughout human history, if we would have had presidents who said, you know what, I want this law passed, and if you don't pass it, I'm going to go ahead and do it without it. If we need tax reform, why doesn't the president just go ahead and do it? Why do we, as congressmen, have to even debate it? If we want to do regulatory reform, we want to deal with the EPA, and we get a Republican president, by God, why don't we just go ahead and have him be king?
But wouldn't you expect more Democrats to stand up and say something like this, considering it's their power, too, that he's taking away?
Yeah. Well, you know, we have seen on Fox and other networks now, folks like Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Texas, folks like Joe Manchin, a Senate Democrat from West Virginia, and others coming forward saying, you know what, I'm for immigration reform. I think Congress needs to fix this program. But I'm not supportive of the president breaking the law and acting unilaterally. So I believe his actions will be challenged once again in the courts, as they should. There's a reason we have 3 branches of government, legislative, executive, and judicial. When the executive and the legislative get into a battle, as we have, the referees, who are the courts, are there to ultimately decide.
Congressman Aaron Schock of Illinois, thanks a lot. That was
good to be with you.
Crisp summation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.